Hey there, today I'm back in my garden and I'm giving kind of a garden, like a little garden tour, mid-year, midsummer check-in. We are in full sun, full summer hot mode here. I live in Garden Zone 8B and I just wanted to share today kind of how things are going, how things are growing, like what's doing well, what's not doing well. And at the end, just share how I'm going to fill in some areas that are empty just to see if I can get those flowering before the end of our garden season. This is kind of when things are like really thriving or struggling in the garden, because we have we have heat index like 105 Fahrenheit days, 106 Fahrenheit days, almost every day at this point, unless we get a rain that cools things off. It is hot every single day, and humid, if I didn't mention that. So if you've ever been in a hot, humid climate, it's very different than hot and dry climates. So I have two areas in my garden I call the south end, which I'm sitting on now, and the north end, which is behind me, and they are doing very different right now. So to start, I would say the thing that has one plant that has just really outperformed, which is typical, is the Mexican sunflower. That is Tithonia. This right here behind me is the Tithonia Mexican. It's a Mexican sunflower. I didn't plant it. It just dropped from seeds that I had, plants that I had last year. I had a couple here beside me, and then a few right here. I left them up for but I left them up for a while, so they dropped seeds. And anyway, I'll share a picture of just kind of what it looked like at the beginning of the season and what it looks like now. So anyway, I didn't plant it, it just dropped seed, and it has grown to be huge. I don't know if it's 12 feet tall, but it is like, there's 2 or 3 together right there, so it is doing really well. The next flower that's doing really well are the Johnny's Aurora Zinnias. I ordered those last year, I think maybe the year before that, and those are right beside me. Those are doing really well. They are pretty colorful, like peaches, creams, oranges, yellows, and there's some that are like, what is the word? Almost like an ombre color, where they like yellows to peach to orange, or like a lighter pink to a darker pink. It's really, really pretty. The Floret Dahlias are another favorite. I planted those last year and just left them in the ground. I did plant a few new ones from seed, and some of those are a little bit smaller and they haven't really taken off. But the ones I planted last year, those are really pretty. There's 2 that are particularly my favorite, and one of them has not bloomed yet. It was kind of like a darker purple. One of them that was my favorite was kind of like a darker purple. It was white with a yellow center. And then the other one is, it's like white and purple. It is so pretty. The other ones in the mix that I had are just, I had a white one and a yellow one, but those are just so pretty. And I'm gonna try to leave those in ground again this year and see how they do next year. Probably the favorite thing in my garden would be my elephant ears. I bought those at Costco in, I think, end of February, maybe right before March started, and I planted those, I believe, in March, and those have done so well. I have some in a container behind me. I have 2 on the south end of the garden, 2 different areas, and then I have one back in the corner that I planted last year, left it in the ground, and it grew back. And it's probably just as big as the ones that I planted this year. It's doing really, really well. I love the tropical type plants, and I've been trying to add more of those to my garden, just for the green. For when some things don't bloom, I can guarantee that I have like some pretty green, like tropical foliage. The banana plants that I planted, I got those in March, and I planted those in April. I have a video where I shared when I planted those. I am really still loving those. I would say I probably had my expectations a little bit too high on how much they were going to grow this year, but I also haven't been feeding them every week. But I will share, what they looked like from the beginning. And I would say, if I had to guess, I wish I would have measured, they have probably grown about a foot. So I was hoping to have 6 to 8 foot tall banana plants this year, but that may not happen. But I'm not going to give up on them. I'm just gonna, leave them in the ground, obviously, let them overwinter and see what happens next year. I also planted marigolds in my garden this year. I put those in the corners of the garden. I planted those in the corners of my garden just to have something colorful, and I plan to plant a few more before this month is over to see if I can get those to bloom and have flowers before the end of our growing season. Another flower that has done really well and they're starting to bloom are the Queenie series, or Queen. It's not just lime, so there's like lime, orange, like a red. So I got those from Johnny's. They have them at many places, but the Johnny's Queenie series, I planted those, I think this is my 3rd year, and I love those. They're very pretty. They're just very colorful. They do really well, and they bloom, a couple months through the summer season, and they're just like probably something that I'll continue to buy every year. I bought a new like little tropical type plant, well, like a really warm season plant, a mandevilla. Mandevilla. I got that at Walmart. It was like $6. It's still very small. I hope that it grows up this trellis that I have through the next couple months, and if it doesn't, I'll just get one earlier in the season next year. But it is so pretty. I think it would be really pretty to have a few of those on trellises next year. But I just wanted to get that and try it out as like an experiment. There's a hummingbird at the top of my Mexican sunflower, but they move so fast. I would never be able to catch it. One thing that I would say has really kind of surprised me, and I have had this before, I think I get purslane and portulaca mixed up. So this is moss rose, portulaca, or it's purslane. I'll try to verify that and put it on the screen. But I've got 3 of those, I think, 1, 2, 3 of those little plants at Home Depot a few months ago, and you can't do anything wrong. I mean, one of them's in like half day sun, the other one is in full sun. I water it once or twice a week, and it has just bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. It is so pretty. I will 100% get those again next year. So I think those are doing really well this summer, and they're very tolerant of this heat. A lady at the store told me that too. She said you cannot kill them. I don't know if that's true or not. Also, I have one that some piece of it broke off, and it is laying in this really hard, dry soil over here, and it rooted, and it's starting to grow just beside the plant. So that's crazy. All of those plants that I was talking about are in the north and the south side of my garden, and we'll kind of quickly just share what's going on back here. I planted some zinnias to fill in some areas back here. Aurora zinnias, those are over here. Those are doing really well. Those are starting to take off, and I planted those later than these, but this is like a lot more shade, so they took longer to grow than I thought they would. I have also planted some burpee zinnias. Those are coming along, as well as some cosmos. I have probably 2 kinds of cosmos over here from botanical interest. I have some Longfield Garden dahlias, dahlias that I planted in a couple different times. The ones I got from Costco did really, really well. They have started to struggle behind me because we had an excessive amount of rain in in June, and they were just sitting in water. And I think it's not an issue if the water would drain off quickly, but the water was not draining off quickly, or it would rain hard again the next day, and they just did not get a chance to dry out. So I don't want to say they've finished blooming. They still have little buds on them, but I'm hoping that those kind of come back to life. I planted a few more. Several of those rotted, sadly, but I did have 3 buds come up this past week, so I'm happy about that. I hope that those will kind of get to be full size before the summer's over and have some more color on this end and this end. Just to kind of wrap this up so it doesn't get too long, I bought a new echinacea. It's called Cheyenne Spirit. It's very pretty. I would love to grow some of those from seed, but in the meantime, I got one from the garden center, and then I bought two perennials called Gara. I've never had those before. They're very pretty. I think they get about 2 feet tall with like kind of a like bright, like a darker bright pink flower on those. So I'm hoping those get really pretty and get established for next year, so I can have something different behind me, because my perennial bed kind of starts to kind of wind down and play out this time of year. I did have a lot of echinacea that, like, the roots kind of rotted during all the rain, but they have sent up new leaves and some new little buds since then. So I'm hoping I'll get like a second round of echinacea in the garden. The black-eyed Susans are kind of playing out, and the Shasta daisies, I think, got too much rain as well. To fill in some gaps, I talked about a couple weeks ago what I was going to plant in July, and some of those things, let me think, I did plant. I had a pack of zinnias that I planted from Burpee, and I planted some cosmos already seeds, and some of those are starting to come up, little seedlings. But I ordered another big pack of these Cracker Jack mix African marigolds from Amazon. The brand is Sweet Yards, but I had these a couple years ago, and they did really well. The bumblebees loved them, and they stayed around until the first, like, really cold frost. I could have covered them probably and kept them longer, but I didn't. I may do that this year, so I can have some color in the garden longer into like November. And then I also have a few little California Giant Zinnias. It says these are 70 to 90 days, so that might be too long out, but I may plant these anyway just to see what happens, because I don't have that many left in the pack. And then I could just get rid of this pack. So that is really all I have today for my mid-July, mid-year summer check-in. So if you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I'll share a video at the end that I think you might like. And in August, I plan to just keep watering the garden. I mean, I may start some things from seed. I have started a few perennials from seed, which I thought I was going to share this week, but not a lot of progress has happened with that. I do have a few tiny seedlings, but it wasn't really enough to share. But anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.